The Argo, its sails billowing in the wind, pressed onward into the mysterious Pont Euxine, what we now call the Black Sea. This was a place shrouded in myth and fear, a vast expanse of water that few Greeks had ever dared to cross, and even fewer had returned from to tell the tale. The sea itself seemed to whisper warnings, its endless horizon cloaked in mist and uncertainty. For the Argonauts, every wave was a reminder of the unknown dangers lurking beneath and beyond. Yet Jason and his Argonauts, bound together by courage, hope, and the unyielding quest for the Golden Fleece, pressed forward. Each man on board was a hero in his own right, united by a sense of destiny and the thrill of adventure. Their journey had already tested them with storms and monsters, but as the coastline of the Mariandynes emerged from the fog, they knew that even greater challenges awaited on land. The Argonauts approached the unfamiliar shore with caution. The land was ruled by King Lycos, a name that carried both respect and uncertainty. The crew braced themselves, expecting hostility or perhaps even battle, but to their astonishment, they were met not with weapons, but with open arms. King Lycos, having heard tales of their bravery and their victory over the fierce Bebrycians, welcomed them as honored guests and potential allies. The Argonauts were celebrated with grand feasts, generous gifts, and songs of praise. Polydeuces, who had defeated the Bebrycian king in single combat, was especially honored, his name spoken with admiration throughout the halls. The people of the Mariandynes showed genuine warmth, sharing their food, their stories, and their hopes for peace. For the Argonauts, it was a rare moment of comfort and belonging in a world that often seemed hostile and strange. For 12 days the Argonauts rested on these friendly shores. They repaired their battered ship, tended to their wounds, and found a sense of peace among the Mariandynes that they had not known since leaving home. King Lycos himself celebrated their bravery, seeing in Jason not just a foreign adventurer, but a leader marked by destiny. He spoke of alliances and friendship, hoping that the Argonauts' courage would inspire his own people. This brief respite was a precious gift, a reminder that even in the most unfamiliar lands, kindness and hospitality could shine through, offering hope and strength for the journey ahead. But as the sun set on their 12th day, dark clouds gathered once more. The Argonauts knew that their greatest trial still lay ahead, and the sea was calling them onward into the unknown. Light and shadow walk hand in hand, and tragedy soon struck the Argonauts. Idmon, the seer blessed by Apollo, met his foretold fate, killed by a wild boar while hunting. His death was mourned deeply. He had been their guide to the gods. The Mariandynes honored him with a grand tomb. Soon after, Tiphys, the Argo's master helmsman, fell ill and died despite all efforts. With their seer and pilot gone, despair gripped the crew. The Argo seemed adrift, its future uncertain. Some whispered of a curse, others of abandoning the quest. The Golden Fleece felt impossibly distant, their journey teetering on the edge of collapse. Yet, even in grief, the Argonauts would have to find a way forward. In their darkest hour, Anchius stepped up to guide the Argo. With new resolve, the Argonauts sailed on, carrying the memory of their fallen friends. They skirted the lands of the Amazons, spared from battle by a wind sent by Hera. Passing the Chalybes, masters of iron, and the strange Massinotsi, they glimpsed worlds unlike their own. Each new shore challenged their understanding of civilization. The Argonauts became explorers, not just warriors, venturing into the unknown. Wonders and horrors alike marked their journey, transforming them into legends. With every sunrise, they sailed further from the familiar, deeper into myth. The Argonauts landed on Aretiade, the Isle of Ares, seeking rest. The island's silence was unsettling, a warning unheeded. Suddenly, Oileus was struck by a razor-sharp feather. The sky darkened with monstrous Stymphalian birds. These creatures, with metallic feathers and deadly beaks, attacked in a storm of screeching fury. The heroes, caught off guard, raised their shields against the rain of bronze. Swords and spears were useless against the relentless aerial assault. Panic spread as the beach became a death trap. Jason tried to rally his men, but the birds attacked from all sides. The Argonauts were trapped, their quest threatened by a legendary menace. Survival would require more than brute strength. In the chaos, as razor-sharp feathers rained down from the sky, Jason's mind raced. He remembered the prophet Phineas's cryptic advice, "Fight with sound, not steel." The words echoed in his memory, a beacon of hope amid the shrieks and confusion. The Argonauts looked to their leader, fear and uncertainty in their eyes, as the deadly Stymphalian birds circled above, their wings blotting out the sun. With a surge of determination, Jason commanded the Argonauts to lock their shields together, forming an unbreakable phalanx. The bronze shields overlapped, creating a gleaming roof that shielded them from the lethal barrage. The warriors crouched beneath, hearts pounding, as the metallic rain clattered harmlessly above their heads. Then, following Jason's signal, they began to beat their swords and spears against the bronze, filling the air with a deafening, discordant clamor. The sound was overwhelming, echoing across the island and drowning out the screeches of the birds. The Argonauts shouted and banged, their voices and weapons merging into a wall of noise. The Stymphalian birds, startled and disoriented by the sudden uproar, faltered in their attack. Their deadly formation broke apart as panic spread through the flock. The birds wheeled and shrieked, unable to withstand the relentless assault of sound. The Argonauts' war cries rose above the metallic thunder, a chorus of defiance and unity. Their collective voices, filled with courage and desperation, overwhelmed the senses of their feathered foes, adding to the chaos and confusion in the sky. Unable to bear the cacophony, the Stymphalian birds broke and fled, their wings beating frantically as they escaped over the water. The sky cleared as the last of the flock vanished, leaving the island eerily quiet in their wake. Slowly, the Argonauts lowered their shields, exhaustion and relief washing over them. They had survived the onslaught without slaying a single bird, their cleverness and unity proving mightier than brute force. Cheers erupted among the warriors as they embraced, celebrating their victory. They had triumphed not through violence but through quick thinking and teamwork, outwitting a mythical terror that had claimed countless lives before them. Bloodied but alive, the Argonauts tended to each other's wounds, their bonds strengthened by the ordeal. In that moment, they understood that true strength lies not in individual heroics, but in the power of unity and trust. The island, once a deadly trap echoing with the cries of monstrous birds, was now silent and peaceful. The threat had passed, and the land itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The Argonauts, standing on the shore, gazed out over the calm water, their hearts lighter after facing such peril and emerging victorious. With spirits renewed and lessons learned, the heroes boarded their ship once more, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them on their epic journey. As the hush of early morning settled over the shore, the Argonauts stood in tense anticipation, their eyes searching the mist for any sign of movement. Suddenly, faint and desperate voices drifted across the water, breaking the silence and drawing the crew's attention to the rocky coastline. There, among the jagged rocks and windswept sand, they discovered 4 young men. Their clothes were torn and their faces gaunt, marked by hardship and fear. These were not ordinary castaways. They were survivors of a terrible shipwreck, forced to hide from the relentless, menacing birds that haunted the island. The eldest of the group, a resolute young man named Argos, stepped forward. With a voice trembling from exhaustion but strong with purpose, he revealed their lineage. They were the sons of Phrixus, the legendary figure whose miraculous flight on the golden ram had given rise to the very golden fleece the Argonauts sought. The brothers explained how they had set out from Colchis, hoping to return to their ancestral home in Greece. But fate had not been kind. Shipwrecked and stranded on this desolate shore, they had lost all hope of rescue, until the Argonauts appeared like a vision from the gods. Jason, recognizing the significance of their story, stepped forward to greet them. As he listened, he realized these young men were not only fellow adventurers, but his own cousins, grandsons of King Aietes of Colchis, and kin to the royal bloodline that guarded the Golden Fleece. Grateful for their rescue and eager to repay the Argonauts' kindness, the brothers pledged their loyalty. They offered to guide Jason and his crew through the treacherous lands of Colchis, sharing their knowledge of the region and the dangers that awaited. Their arrival was more than mere coincidence. It felt like a sign from the gods, a twist of fate that would shape the destiny of the quest. The Argonauts, once uncertain and weary, now felt a surge of hope and renewed determination. With new allies and experienced guides among them, the Argonauts' spirit soared. The crew, once divided by fear and doubt, now worked together with a sense of unity and purpose, preparing the Argo for the next stage of their perilous journey. The sons of Phrixus, with their first-hand knowledge of Colchis and its many perils, became invaluable. They spoke of the challenges ahead, of fierce guardians, cunning traps, and the ever-watchful eyes of King Aietes. Yet their courage inspired the crew to press on. The quest, once shrouded in uncertainty, now seemed guided by destiny itself. With the dawn breaking over the horizon, the Argonauts felt the weight of their mission and the promise of glory more keenly than ever. And so, with the sons of Phrixus among them, the Argo sailed onward, its crew stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to claim the Golden Fleece. With the sons of Phrixus aboard, Jason learned of Colchis and its king. Argos described King Aeetes as a cruel, suspicious tyrant, son of the sun god Helios. The Golden Fleece was his symbol of power, guarded with madness and jealousy. Foreigners were seen as threats. The Argonauts would be treated as enemies, not heroes. Aeetes set impossible tasks for those who sought his favor, leading many to their doom. The city of Aea was a fortress, its palace heavily guarded. The fleece itself was protected by a sleepless dragon, deadly and impenetrable. The Argonauts faced not just a king but a demigod, a fortified city, and a mythical beast. The challenge ahead was daunting, but Jason's resolve only grew. The final trial would be the greatest test of their lives. The Argo neared Colchis, the Caucasus Mountains looming ahead. This was the land where Prometheus was chained, punished for giving fire to humanity. The crew saw Zeus's giant eagle fly to the mountains, blotting out the sun. They heard Prometheus's agonized cries as the eagle tore at him, a daily torment. The Argonauts were shaken, reminded of the god's power and wrath. The world of myth was real, its dangers terrifying. Passing the cliffs in silence, the crew felt the weight of divine punishment. They were entering a realm where gods and monsters ruled. The suffering of Prometheus was a warning. The stakes were higher than ever. The Argonauts pressed on, humbled and wary. At last, the Argo entered the Phasis River, gateway to Colchis. The lush, secretive landscape signaled the end of their voyage and the start of their greatest trial. Guided by Argos, they anchored in a hidden backwater, setting up camp in silence. Now intruders in a powerful kingdom, stealth was their only ally. As dusk fell, Jason built an altar and led the Argonauts in prayer to Hera and Aphrodite. They asked for strength, cunning, and luck for the days ahead. In the sacred darkness, the heroes prepared for the final challenge. United and resolute, they stood at the edge of legend. They had survived storms, monsters, and loss to reach this point. The fate of their quest, and their lives, would be decided here, on the Golden Shore.